ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जन्मादीयस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारी मृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यं परं धीमहि हरि ओम सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। Welcome to the Vedavriksha Varanam course. And today is the sixth session, day 6 of the course. And today we are going to discuss the Darshana Shastras. And it will be a little difficult to actually follow if someone is listening for the very first time. All this things which we are going to discuss. However, only the essential point, essence is what is required for us to understand. And for those who are interested, they can go and study. Okay, it's not that everyone is required to study each and every detail. It is based on the vritti of a person. We can take up the study, but some essentials are very much essential for a person, especially when is into preaching. Then these things are very essential, because as we will see, the Darshana Shastra, of course, there is philosophy attached to it. In the end, the aim is mukti only for all of the all the different philosophies which are there. They have a different, each of them they have a different idea, that is a different thing. But there is a methodology also which they define. How to think. That is very essential for us to actually know that how to think about something, how to verify about something, how to know that what we are thinking is actually correct. Okay, or how to determine lakshana. Okay, I mean, if you must have heard that. So it is the definition of definition. In Nyaya, there is one. So it's a very important thing actually, in Gurukul system. So Nyaya and grammar, Panini, these are two very essential things that one must know before studying anything related to Vedic literature. Because without knowing grammar, like without knowing language, Sanskrit, how can you even, you can read, you can understand, it is impossible to proceed, even to function, to do your daily chores. It's not possible. I mean, if you don't understand a language, then how can operate in that language? And Nyaya means logic. It means we will see in detail, but pramanas and prameyas which are there. So without that, how can you even operate in this material world? In this Vyavharik world, it's not possible to operate. And as I said that you must have, I mean, if you see many a times the scholars, they are defined as pada, vakya, pramana, parangata, pandit. Pada, vakya, pramana, parangata, pandit. So pada means the science of words. That is the grammar, Panini, Sanskrit scholar. Vakya means uh, Vakya means sentence. That is one thing, but it means how to interpret a sentence, how to understand, if the mukhya earth is failing, then to apply the lakshana or the suggested meaning. So that is related to the Mimamsa Shastra, Karma Mimamsa. Okay, and so because they know extensively how to interpret the Vedic statements and many Sharulinga and many methodologies they have prescribed. And Pramana, so that is Nyaya. So Pada Vakya Pramana Parangata. So Pramana Shastra means that he should be well versed with the Nyaya philosophy. Then you can actually do something. If you know only Sanskrit, then you don't know philosophy. Of course, there is a philosophy also in the Sanskrit language itself. If you read Vakya Padiya of Bharadhari. So as we have Mayavad philosophy, the same Vakya Padiya, it is same philosophy. But instead of Brahman, they say Shabda Brahman. So they say that everything originates from Shabda Brahman, from sound, everything is created. And they have a whole philosophy on this. How, sound is the basis of the creation and like that. And we also accept that sound is the basis of creation. But, it is a product. It is a product of, the Tamshra Ahamkar, which is a product of Mahatattva, which is a product of Pradhan, and which the glance of Vishnu is needed. Sound is the basis of creation, but it is not the ultimate basis. There is some steps, there are people behind. It is not independent cause, not the ultimate final cause. But in that case, so that is one thing, but still the Vakyapadiya very beautifully is brought out many interesting concepts, many interesting ideas. Okay. And it's of course a difficult text to follow. So the aim of philosophy in general, any philosophy is to end the suffering of uh, of oneself. That is why we have philosophy. And different philosophies. So the goal is the premise is this. And for that they say that there is something which we should know. Okay. And those things which we can know is ontology of prameyans. And the way to know that is pramana. That is the epistemology. And that is how they have their philosophy. Of course, we often use have heard that we say the Nyaya argument is this, and Vaisheshika defeat Nyaya argument, Sankhya, this defeats that. Mother, they defeated the Shankara, this Mayavad. But you must understand that there are always arguments and counter arguments. It is not that when Sripad Madhvacharya, Sripad Ramanacharya, they defeated Mayavad, so then there was nothing. So we see that still the Mayavad philosophy, it is still going on. Because they have their own counter argument. Then of course the counter argument was defeated. So like that it happens. Ultimately, some of the other reason they find. Okay. I mean, of course, the reason may be brutal, that is there, but it is not that They are dumbfounded. The philosophy is dumbfounded. They have their own reason. So they just stop it. Okay. And of course, it is beyond the scope of this discussion of this class that how it happens. Because see, each philosophy they try to explain the reality in their own terms, and they have some assumptions. They make some assumptions. Okay, like specifically with respect to Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, Patanjali, they have that. The aim is to have the least number of assumptions. Okay, if you have many assumptions in this parliament, you should have assumptions in the sense like some maxims which you have. Okay, these are like our maxims. This is the way it is. Or they say in Nyaya, they say that the knowledge is in Atma only, which is not true. Knowledge is like the material knowledge, not the Sachidanand and that knowledge, but the knowledge which we have of this material world. So we say it is Manovritti. Okay, we'll see what it means. But they say it is a property of Atma. They have a reason also for that. Or that how you perceive the I mean the jati with the object. Okay, in the Navyana. So they have their own philosophy. The quality and the dravya, the guni and the guna, there's difference. Mother said there's no difference. So these notions are there, there are arguments, counter arguments are there. Ultimately, what happens is that it is a state of a person which on which it accepts. So if you go and argue with a Mayavad, I mean a thorough Mayavad, you may defeat him, but still it is somewhere of course they convert. I mean genuinely I'm saying, uh, but still they have their faith. Ultimately, the question is about faith, and that is why the verse is a Tarka Pratishta, Shruta Vinna, Nasa Varashurya Samat, Matam Nabinnam, Dharmasya Tattam Nihata Guhayam, Mahajano Yena Pada Sarpantam. So the question is about faith, which is there. It is about the blessing, to talk about bhakti. Do you love it? Doesn't mean that you, if you say that it is ultimately on the faith, it doesn't mean that you don't go and establish. You should establish your philosophy. Much is there, but according to a person's understanding, he will accept one of the six philosophies are there. And the Darshana will go. You can simultaneously for the note. Darshana means sight or vision. And in the Vedanta philosophy, the first question is what is the source of everything? And the philosopher who saw different stages of the original source, they explain the philosophy according to their own vision. I mean, this is a very important term. Different stages of the original source. So sound is the basis of creation. So some people they could only see sound and they stopped it there. Some people went till Brahman. Some people went till Shakti, as we were discussing Shakti yesterday in the yesterday's. But that is okay. But there is a higher reality that everything comes from Lord Hari. He is the source. And then there are step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like that. And different philosophers, according to their capacity, they stop at one place. Even the modern science, they stop at the most gross level itself. They stop. You may say that, so when we question, like we talk that Shabda Brahman is the source of the universe. So what is we can talk about that. It also has a basis. Okay. And modern science, as I say that who created God, they have a question. Basically, the point is we cannot go into the question of anamasa, that is infinite regress. At some point, any philosophy will stop. Bhaktya stops at Shabda Brahman. Mayavad will stop at Brahman. Some will stop at Shakti. Some will stop at at the gross matter only. Some will stop at Vishnu. Because you can't have the infinite regress. Because then there is no with infinite regress, you can't have any philosophy. You just go on arguing. At some place you have to stop. Okay. I mean this discussion is with respect to philosophy. This is not how the actual truth is. I mean, it is not how we don't establish the superiority of Lord Hari by logic. I mean, it is a truth. It is a fact which you have to establish, but in the philosophical way, we are just discussing it is being discussed in this thing. That at some point you will have to stop. Otherwise, you can't have any sort of philosophy. Okay, so they stop at different level, and that is why Anavasta, if you read philosophies, they don't they try to avoid the ad infinitum problem whenever they are explaining. So that is why the phrase is used different stages of originalism. And you can actually read through this the six philosophy, different degrees of forgetfulness of Krishna, and that thing that they. And there were many Darshana Shastra. It is not that these six were only there. These six, they became prominent. And some Brahmana, I mean, it is being opined that some Brahman in Kali, they coined the term Shada Darshan. And there had been many Darshan. But these six became many prominent. And of course, there is a source also, like even before all the Vaishnava Acharyas, they use the term Shadadarshan. Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is using the term Shadadarshan. So it's not a modern term, it is there for quite a few thousand years, but there are many more philosophies. That's why the term is Darshana Shastra, not Shadadarshan. Many darshan are there, but we are going to stick to the six systems only. So the six systems are Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Patanjali, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa or Karma Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta. And they are clubbed into two, like pairs of two. Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Patanjali, and Uttara Purva Mimamsa. How it is so, we'll see it. Because there is a lot of similarity in the philosophy. A one-liner description of the six systems are given that you can read. So now first we'll go into the Nyaya philosophy, Nyaya Darshan. Srila Prabhupada also in first canto, first chapter, in one of the initial verses, I think so, the 10th verse, says that for only after studying the six systems of philosophy, one is actually qualified to sit on the Vyasa seat. It is very essential. And we see in tomorrow's class that how Srila Prabhupada also, at many places, he is using the six systems. He extensively uses the Nyaya philosophy, Sankhya also at times, and Patanjali is like, we'll see it is same only. They are only a methodology attached to it. So with the Nyaya philosophy, there are 16 padarthas, 16 things which is to be known. If these 16 things are known, then you are done. In Nyaya also there are two, not branches, but two schools. One is a Prachin Nyaya, and one was a Navya Nyaya, which came with the seeds were sown by Udanayacharya only in the 9th century. And Gangesh Upadhyaya, which is Tattva Chintamani, he said the Navya Nyaya. And in the Navya Nyaya, basically, the definitions which are there in the Prachin Nyaya, where they have refined the definitions, and they have tried to merge the Nyaya and Vaisheshika system because they are very similar. There are hardly, there are differences. Pitupak Nyaya and Kalupak Nyaya, like how atoms they function, they have that difference. But mostly it is same. And in Vaisheshika, there are 7 padarthas. So the Nyaya, the 16 padarthas are प्रमाण प्रमेय संशय प्रयोजन दृष्टांत सिद्धांत अव्यय तर्क निर्णय वाद जल्प वृत्तांत हेतुभास छल जाति निग्रह स्थान. Actually, there's some mistake in this. Okay, Prama is not the padat. It starts from pramana. Pramana, prameya, panchaya, prayojan, drishtan, siddhant, avyaya, tarka, nirnaya, vaga, jaiva, vitanda, hetuvas, chala, jati, and nigrahasthan. Okay, so there is a mistake in the notes. So the first padat which is there is the praman. And the nyaya, four pramanas are accepted. Pratyaksha, anuman praman, upaman praman, and shabda praman. The pratyaksh is the sannigarsha, the contact of the senses with the sense object. Simple definition. And of course, if there are adjectives attached to it, it should be definite, it should be free from error, and like that they have in the Nyaya Sutra, I think so, 1.1.4 pratyaksh is defined. So basically, it means the contact of the senses with the sense objects. Okay, and the definition of the praman is that which gives rise to correct knowledge. And praman, two, like there is a keval praman and anupraman. Actually, pramayas are also, pramayas is one term, but many a times by pramana, both the means of knowledge and the object of knowledge, both are indicated. And Srimad Madhacharya, in his Pramana Lakshanam, he differentiates that. He says that the means to knowledge is the anupraman, and the knowledge is kevala praman, which is okay. And he is refuting the definition given by so the praman, the definition of pramana pratyaksha. So in each school of philosophy, what they do is they first talk about that what is to be known, why is to be known, and the means to know it, and they define the means. And Srimad Madhacharya in his Pramana Lakshanam, he's repeated definitions of the Nyaya philosophy, of the Sankhya, of the Nyaya, of the Karma Imams, Prabhakar and Kumarila Bhatt, both definitions he has refuted. So, of course, now that is beyond the scope of the current discussion. But the point I'm trying to say is that Nyaya system, many things of the Nyaya system has been defeated by by Madhacharya. And defeated many things he convinced that, okay, like in the 22 Darsanas are accepted in the Nyaya. So Srimad Madhacharya, he just summarized them into few. So he made it more crisp. So Pratyaksha is the contact of the senses and subjects. For according to Nyaya, it is the most fundamental, most important praman. Then we have the anuman. So the knowledge produced from anuman is anunukti. So some terms which you should know. Prama is a means of knowledge. Pramana is the object of knowledge. Pramata, Pramatru is the knower of the knowledge, that is a person. And Prama is the right knowledge. And Pramata is the validity of the cognition. It is a check that what I have concluded is whether right or wrong. Anuman, the knowledge understood from that is the inferential knowledge, that is the anunukti. And there are there's a Vyakti principle which is there, that is the invariable concomitance. So how it happens is, so we'll see that in Anvaya, okay. So here we just conclude the Purava Sheshavarna Samanya Tudrishta. So Purava is that, so basically Anuman means inference. Okay. You see the Hetu, you see some symptoms at a place, then you apply the principle of the apathy, of the invariable concomitance, and then you come whereby you come to a conclusion, and you are establishing our subject. Okay, so you see fire on mountain, and you know the principle that where there is fire, so you see smoke on the mountain. And you know the principle, where there is fire, there is smoke. Okay? Where there is smoke, where there is fire. So, thereby you conclude there is smoke. So, the mountain, the place is the Oxford. The symptom, that is a smoke, is the Hetu, or the number. Okay, no, Hetu, it's number. Hetu also, Hetu means reason, but here it is the number, the symptom which is being seen. And then you have the Vyakti principle, that where there is this, there is that. There is a principle which is there. And thereby you conclude that there is smoke, there is a something. So this is the methodology of uh, Anuman inference that is being followed. Because not everywhere Pratiksha functions. You have the Anuman Pramana also. After that is the Upaman. So Nyaya of Upaman also, that is the analogy. Okay. So you see that a Gavaya is similar to cow. When you go to see animal, you see it is similar to cow and you are reminded that it's a cow. So actually it is a in the Vedanta they accept, so different schools accept different number of pramanas. Okay. For example, in the like the Charvakas accept permission. The Mimamsakas, so the Charvaka accept only this. The Vaisheshika they accept only Pratyaksha and Anuman. The Nyayite, the Sankhya and the Patanjali, they accept Shabda, Praman, Pratyaksha and Anuman. The Nyayakas, they accept Upaman as well. The Prabhadharas, so Bhatta and Prabhadhan, they are two schools of philosophy of the comes in Imams only. So they have Pratyaksha, Anuman, Upaman, Shabda. Sorry, in Prabhadaras they have Pratyaksha, Anuman, Upaman, Shabda, and Arthapatti. That is the presumption. You know that you have 50%, he is not eating in the daytime, so he is eating at the night time. So that is the Arthapatti. The Bhakta, they accept all this and Abhava also, Anupalabdhi. Which means that if you don't see a book on the table, so you can put there is no book. Okay, so like that they have. And the Pauranikas they have Sambhava and Ativa also. And in the Tantric school, they have chase stalls, numbers like 2 means 2. Okay, with victory, so like that. After Ramadan, then they have refuted the other school of philosophy, the other Pramana which are there, they are actually nothing but part of this three only. So we have covered that in our first class. I'm not going to that. Next is the Pramyas, the second Padarth. And there are 12 Pramyas which are there. Atma, Sharira, Indra, Artha, the objects of senses, Buddhi, Manas, Pravritti, Dosha, Tritta, Bhav, Phala, Dukkha, Apavarga. So these things are what to be known by our pramanas. So the presence of Atman. So Nyaya philosophy they have actually in the Nyaya Sutras of Gautama. So the Nyaya Sutra of the Gautama is the first book, okay, on which the entire Nyaya philosophy is based on. It is not that before in the Nyaya philosophy was not there. The six systems of philosophy were already there. But the six sages, they came and they kind of organized it. So Gautama Rishi, he organized the Nyaya. Vaisheshika was organized by Kandara. The Sankhya was by Kapila. This Kapila is different from Lord Kapila of the Bhagavatam. Patanjali, he organized the Yoga philosophy. Germany, the disciple of Vyasadeva, he established the Kavi Mamsa. He wrote the Mamsa Sutra. And Vyasadeva, he had the Brahma Sutras in the Vedanta philosophy. So it is not that before they wrote these scriptures, these systems were not there. They were there in some other form. They organized it. And any thought which is there on this planet, it is one amongst the six questions. Okay, ultimately, any view which you have is darshanik view, a view of something of this world. It is a darshan only, it is a philosophy only. And you can reduce it to one of the six philosophies which are there. So that is the importance of studying these six systems. So for Nyaya also there are references, in Mahabharata and many places, Bhagavatam also, Nyaya system it is there. And even in the Sankhya philosophy, it is mentioned. Sankhya here given to Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. And similarly, the Ashtanga Yoga also has been mentioned. So it is not that these sages they proved it, but it is already there. Um, they only organized it. Okay. So coming back to the Prameya Tattva, we have the Atman. So these 12 things which are there, which are to be studied. What they are is now beyond the scope of this discussion because it will take a lot of time, but you can actually go and you can read it. Okay. Next is the Samshaya, doubt. The cause of doubt is also being discussed. That when you perceive common properties, so you mistake a snake for a rope because you see the common mistakes, calmness, and like that. Another source of doubt is because of conflicting testimonies of people. So one is saying something, one is saying something, so that then you have a doubt. The third is the irregularity of perception. That is, you are unable to determine in a mirage that whether water is there or not. And fourth is the irregularity of non-perception. So when unable to believe into something which you have never seen. Then the next padarth is prayojana. So that means the goal. Okay. So in the Nyaya Sutra, it is a common thing which is there. No, they are not. They are neither the correct, incorrect, or they are neither the different ways of looking. They are different lenses of looking into it. So Nyaya is very gross. For them, it is the combinations of atom that is the source. Okay. Of course, they talk about bhakti. It is not that they don't talk about bhakti, but each of them they have a shortcoming. Actually, we'll discuss that. So there are different levels of seeing that. Correct, incorrect. There some points are correct. Some points of them are incorrect. Like in Vina, they say that Atma is Vibhu, all pervading. All the Atmas are Vibhu. When you believe that a Sharir, there it confines, and for Atma to for Atma to have to manifest consciousness, it requires a body. So when it finds a body, only there the consciousness and it is able to function. So now that is a wrong point actually. It's not that Atma is Vibhu. All Atmas is Vibhu. Only Paramatma is Vibhu. So sometimes some points are wrong, but uh, it is not a different way of looking. A different way are the four Vaishnava Sampradaya. So that we'll see. Well, the Shan version, they are just, incomplete ladders. Essentially, actually, traditionally, how it is to be done, if someone interested, okay, in the Gurukul system. So they study all the six systems. Okay, they study the pros, cons, scientific, and everything. But they use different tools. But like the Nyaya, the system logic, there is system of reasoning that is used. So Vaisheshika, the epistemology that is being used, like how the properties that is used. For Sankhya, the deliberation on different tattvas that is being used. So they use some methodology of that. Okay. So prayer is a goal. So in Nyaya Sutras, and I mean in general philosophy, it is a common thing that we do things for a purpose. Everything it is done for a purpose. So Pramana, Pramaya, everything what we have knowledge and all that, that should be for some provision. It can be anything. Not literally. For different people it is different. Of course, there is a highest Pramana, then there are some false Pramana, there are some Anu That is a different thing. But for a provision only, I think is done. Okay, that is it. Next, we have is Dristant example. So we give an example. Okay, like how we in this class, in the series, you must have seen many analogies are given. So it easily communicates the idea that there is smoke on fire. So there is smoke, there is fire. The strand is like how we have in our kitchen, like that. Siddhant means a doctrine. It is a well established fact. It has been established as a point, you know, after thorough debate and like of a school. So the Siddhants are also four types. So one is a Sarvadantara Siddhant. So Siddhant which are accepted by all schools of philosophy. But like one thing is like all schools of philosophy they accept the earth, water, fire. Okay, or all schools of philosophy they accept the that suffering is what is to be overcome. So Sarvadantara Siddhant is a secular truth which is only accepted by some similar schools of thought. Like Nyaya Shika, they have some similarity. Adhikana Siddhanta is a consequential proof. That is a tenet which is accepted. I mean, it leads to some other the implied thing. Implied in the sense is a consequential thing. If this truth is accepted, then this is a consequential. And Adhikana is the implied Siddhanta. It is not natural. Next factor is the Anvaya. That is the 5 steps. So this is important to study. So how to present the argument? You can actually try to note this down. So first we have is Pratigna, the statement which we have to see. That there is fire on the mountain. Next is the Hetu, the reason. Why is it so? Because we see smoke. Then we give the Udharan. Okay? Or so in the Hetu, the reason also comes. Vyapti. Where there is fire, there is smoke. And then we have the Udharan. Like in the kitchen, we have it. Okay? And then there is the Upanaya application that we draw the conclusion. So therefore, there will be fire. And then we develop the conclusion. And hence, we conclude that there is fire on the mountain. So the four in the first part, actually, they are not important. Okay, they are the Navyana, they are only the first three. Because the 4 and the 5 are repetitive things. So as we have discussed, the Sadhya Paksha Hetulinga. So the English term for that is, you can write down if anything. Sadhya is the initial term. Paksha is a minor term. The Hetulinga is the middle term, which is one. And Vyapti is the invariable concomitants. Okay. So like that is there. Next we have is the Hetu fallacies of reasons. So there are some Hetu so when a reasoning is good, okay, there are we give a reason, but the reason may not be true. Okay. And then there are some types too. One is the self-abhicha type of fallacy, wherein the reason is given, it does not lead to one conclusion, but it leads to many conclusions. Okay. Next we have is the Viruddha, self-contradictory. The reason is dismissing the the proposition itself. And there is fire on the mountain. Why? Because there is rain. We see that. So it is disproving, it is against the principle itself. Third form is the Sat-Pratik-Paksha, where the reason it provokes the very question itself. Okay? So this is a very, this is the significance of Nyaya. Actually, those who are preachers, they should very carefully study Nyaya. We will actually understand how to speak, how to logic. It is very amazing science. Okay? The Nyaya philosophy is very difficult, but one book which I can recommend is the Pramana Lakshana of Sripad Navacharya. Okay, we'll see Sripad Navacharya. So please remind me in this class only. Please, someone just write down. When we come to Nava philosophy, we'll see that. So therein you can actually something tangible, which I think so. I mean, someone is interested, he can actually go and he can study the Praman Lakshana. I mean, if you go and pick a Nyaya book, it will be very difficult to follow. If you go and study a Praman Lakshana, it's a book written by Madhacharya. So, you can easily understand. So please remind me when we come to Madhacharya, to the Dvaita Vedanta. So many times, this is a very common thing. You can actually see this. The reason is the example itself. Okay. That is not a proper reasoning. Two hours. And also another type of knowledge. Where the reason which is given, that itself needs a proof. Okay. So sometimes you give a reason, but that itself needs a proof to give the proof. So that is where, I mean, like we have the sky lotus, which is a flower, it is fragrant. Because it is a lotus, like a lotus in the pond. And the problem itself is the sky lotus itself is, non-existent. Okay. Like, so like that, then there are subtypes of there, so we'll not cover that because it will become very difficult. Next, we have is Bhajita. The reason given contradicts the premise. Okay. It is completely contradictory to the Paksha which is given. Next, we have is the Tarka. So this is the reasoning which is there. So in the Tarka, what happens is there are two parties are there. They give their, each of them they give their their point, and one of them is being established. Okay, so they are usually like whether self darkness is a fraud or not a fraud. So they are like a two and four kind of thing, and one of them is accepted after doing the discussion. Then this is dialectic, the middle time. So that is the end part of it. So this is Siddhant. So Nirvana is the conclusion to which the person come after doing Tarka. And in the Tarka, there is an aware. That is the five things which were discussed, Pratigna, Udharan, and Hetu. That is it done. And so that it properly follows, there are no Hetu Abhas, that's why we have Hetu Abhas. And Pramana Prameya also. So these 16 padas are actually they are very related. Okay, I'm just giving the flow of them. Next we have the Bhada, discussion. So in the discussion, what it means is that it is not a Bhada which is there. So each of the aim is to actually establish a new philosophy. Okay, to come to a new thing. Okay, and further what happens is you say one thing, I say God exists, God does not exist. And then we are coming to one thing. What means we present our view, someone else presents their view, and then maybe we can come to a new view itself. Or they try to establish their own point. So like it's like an open sort of a discussion, which is there. Okay. Then we have the polemic or jalpa. So here the aim is to establish our own point. So the sound down one by doing anything, we are just establishing our own point. Okay. So then we are not interested to know the truth. We are not interested to come to some conclusion. I just want to prove that God does not exist. I am not coming to actually come and understand where God exists on. It's not a therapy. We are only proving our own. Actually, how is it? Childry or Bhuttanda. Okay. Here, the aim is not to prove our own point. There is no aim to prove any point. The only aim is to disprove the other point. So whatever you speak, I defeat that. So it's a very, I mean, it's not a proper way of reasoning. Okay. There is a purpose behind each of them, which is there. I mean, why? Sometimes it is used. Okay, it is not recommended. That is the only thing. That is no use. But in Jalta and uh, Jalta, Vitamila, and Jati, it is for a reason which is used. What happens is actually why they are recommended. That is even the Nyaya Sutra themselves they don't recommend. Why it is recommended is that sometimes when when we are in a debate and other person is much more learned than us, then we use these tools to make ourselves to protect our philosophy. Okay, so I mean so that we are not defeated, these things are used. Okay. And many times someone is actually misbehaving with you. Okay, someone is just doing time pass. So then these tools can be used. So within the we are just disproving anything what the other person says. We just disprove. We don't put our point. The time which when we prove our point, then the victim it gets over. Because that is also part of discussion. That can also be practiced. Okay. You come with a point, I come up with a point, and I'm just interested in defeating the point. You are interested in only defeating my point. Then the next step is chala, which is there. Chala. So chala, what happens is uh, herein when someone says something, we take the other meaning of it. So we are playing with the words. Many a times is in the modern scenario you must have seen many people they just play with the words. Okay. There is a well established meaning, but still they play with the word. Okay. For example, when we say a quadruple entity. So now it is a well established thing. A quadruple entity means an animal, a four-legged animal. And then they will say, oh, we took it as a four-legged table because quadruple also means. So you said a quadruple entity. So table is also an entity and it also has four legs. So like that they play with the words. Okay. So it is a very low class kind of a defeat. Then the next type is jati. Okay, which is there, which means to use some false analogies, to use some false reasoning and to make our own point. Okay, that is there. And the last one is the Darsanas, the ground of defeat. So there are some uh, some points which are there that if this thing is there, then you are defeat. They are the ground of defeat. For example, if you are refuted your own point somehow in the heat or you refute your own point, so you are defeated. If you accept the other philosopher, you are defeated because you have renounced your own proposition. Okay. If you misunderstand, okay, sometimes you know, sometimes in an argument we become confused. We are confused. So that is a point of defeat. So like that, there are 22 points of defeat which I mentioned. Okay. So that is in very brief, the uh, the 16 padarthas of the Nyaya system. And this is, you can just understand. Well, now just we see in Navya Nyaya, it is very technical. Okay, so be aware of, be prepared for it. So we'll just see some basic terminology which are there in the Nyaya. Okay, so in the Navya Nyaya, Bhasha Pradhupa, which is a book written in the modern recent time only, 100 years back. They say. So they say that there is a dharma and dharmi. Dharma is the holder. Dharmi. Dharma is the property. Dharmi is the holder. So, for example, uh, you have, let's say, uh, a cloth. The cloth is a dharmi and the color is a dharma. Okay. The dharma, the quality have two types, jati and upadhi. So, jati is one is a universal quality, like humanity. It is a universal quality. And upadhi is an external thing, which is also two types, akhanda in between. Sambandha, the relation are of types, sakshat. So there is a sanyoga sambandha, which is a contact between two things. Samvaya Sambandham. There is an inference. So I have uh, masculine masculinity in me. So we not in contact with that. That is inference. So like that they have. And then we have the Sarupa Sambandham, which is the inherent thing, which is okay, non-different from the object. Then we have the indirect, okay, parampara thing. Like if you have mobile phone in your pocket and you are standing in the in one room, so the room is connected to your mobile phone by a phone. So the room is connected to you, and you are connected to the phone. So like that they have. And there is another way of relation. Vritti niyamika, vritti anamika. Okay. Occurrence exacting, non-occurrence exacting. Kalika sambandha, parayapti sambandha. Vishayata, vishayata and vishayuta. Nirupya, nirupaka. And avacheda, avachinna. We are very famous terminologies uh, uh, of the Navina, which is there. So if you see, okay. So there is one very interesting thing which I want to bring to everyone's uh, notice. So if you want to flaunt, I mean, this is not recommended, but if you want to flaunt somewhere, that you know, so that logic actually we see in the Nyaya, using Nyaya, you can prove and disprove any and everything. Okay, anything being disprove. Like I am, okay, you suppose someone says that I am in Mumbai. That can be disproved. Okay, properly they have that full proper logic by which they can disprove it. Okay, so that powerful the system of Nyaya is. Okay, but logic, anything and everything can be disproved. That is there. So, for example, so I say I am in Mumbai by Sahyog Sambandha. But by Sambhaya Sambandha, I am not in Mumbai. Okay, I am just by the inference. I'm like this our by the contact by the context I'm saying at that time. But by inference I'm not here. Okay. So that we have to specify. Like that they can prove it. So we take a simple example. So how Navya will say that there is abhav. So abhav you know that abhav means non-existence. So there is no God on ground. Okay. So the simple line is Bhutale Ghata Abhav. But on the ground there is no Ghata. So please listen very carefully. So this is the way. So now we are adding complexity to it. Next we say with the context. So we say that Bhutale Sanyoga Sambandhena Ghato Nasti. But contact is not there. Okay, so that is one way. Another way is that so I will give you the first thing. So you say a normal person will say that Bhutale Ghata Abhav in Sanskrit. But a Nyayaka will won't say like this. He will say Bhutala Nishpa Bhutala Avachinda Anuyogitarka Sanyoga Samsarga Avachinda Ghata Nishpa Ghatatva Avachinda Patiyogita Nirupaka Abhav. Okay, I will again repeat this. So he's simply saying Bhutale Ghata Abhav. But he will say Bhutala Nishta Bhutalatva Avachinna Anuyogitarka Sanyoga Samsarga Avachinna Ghatanishta Ghatatva Avachinda Patiyogita Nirupaka Abhav, which is there. So that is how they explain it. So in Abhav, which is there are two terms, Anuyogi and Pratiyogi, which is there. There is a substratum where it is not there. So the pot is not there. So the object, the Pratiyogi is the pot. And where it is not there, Anuyogi is the ground. And by what quality, by what quantity it is not there? That is by the sense by the contact, Samyoga Sambandha, Sayoga Sambandha. Now, there is Avachinna Avachedaka. So, this one thing which you should know that we say a boy has boyness, a color has colorness. So, Bhutal has Bhutalatva and Ghata has Ghatatva. Okay. So, the property is the Avachinna. So, it is Avachedaka. And the holder is Avachinna. That is when you. Okay. So, when a property describes the holder, the person which is there. So a handsome person. So the person is being there, that is being described by the property. So that the terminology is the avachinna avachigata. So that's why we have bhutala nishta, bhutalatva avachinna. Bhutala nishta, bhutalatva avachinna. Unrelated are the sayama samsarga. So on the bhutala, which is being qualified by, which is the avachinna by the bhutalatva. And the bhutal is the analogy which is there. And there is a Sayoga Samsarga Avachinna Ghatanishta. So the sample is the Sayoga Samsarga which is there. And Ghatanishta, Ghatha Avachinna. So Ghatanishta, Ghatha Avachinna, Pratiyogi. So this is Pratiyogi. And Nirika Abhava. So this is the describe the relation. So I know it is very difficult. But this saying is as a you know how an anchor they will say something. So they have their own way of saying, and it makes sense. Each of them they're very definite in that. So I'm in middle by what Raman, by what Sayo, by contact, not by somebody, right? The Sayo is somebody. And the book is not on the table. So who is a Prajayogi? Who is a Yogi? That is it. And it is very useful in philosophy. So now we'll refrain ourselves. We'll now, okay, part ways with our with the with the Nyaya thing. And Nyaya is something which you can go on discussing for your entire life. You can discuss that. Very, very elaborate. Many, many things are there. Okay. So Gautama Muni, he wrote the Nyaya Sutra. Vatsayana Muni, he wrote the Nyaya Bhashya on the Nyaya Sutra. Udyotakara, he wrote the Nyaya Vartika, which is a commentary on Nyaya Bhashya, which is a commentary on Nyaya Sutra. Vachaspati Mishra, the only person who has commented on all six systems of philosophy, he wrote the Nyaya Vartika Tattparya, which is a commentary on the Nyaya Vartika, which is a commentary on Nyaya Bhashya, which is a commentary on Nyaya Sutra. So a sub-commentary on the sub-commentary on sub-commentary of a sub-commentary. And Jayendra Bhatta, he also wrote a commentary, Nyaya Manjari, and Nyaya Sara, and many, many things are there. Nyaya Chara is also there, Nyaya Vartika Tattparya Parishad. And in the Madhya Nyaya, we have Tattva Chintamani and Vijiti, very famous. So Raghunath Shiromani, he is the author of the Tattva Chintamani, Vijiti. And he was a classmate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The story is, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a very, very, very great Nyayika. So he wrote a book. So, and they were classmates, Raghunath Shiromani and Nimai Pandit. So when they both wrote books on Tattva Chintamani, when Raghunath Shiromani, he saw Mahaprabhu's work, he said that your work is it's a class, it's a different altogether, book on a different level. If your book is there, then no one will read my book. So Mahaprabhu said, okay, no problem. So he said, he did his book and he drowned the book in the river. He said, when your book will become famous. And that Vijiti of Raghunath Shiromani, it is the best commentary. The topmost Raghunath Shiromani is the topmost Nyayika, which is it. So you can see, you can understand At what level Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's book must be there? That book, which is the topmost book, which is considered as the topmost book, the author of that book, upon seeing Mahaprabhu's work, says that, you know, I mean, my work is nothing in front. That is one thing. Next, we will come to the Vaisheshika system. So, coming to BC, he wrote the Vaisheshika Sutra. And Prashasta part, he wrote the commentary on that, which is the Padartha Dharma Sangraha. And the other books which are there is Udanaya, he wrote the Kiranavali, Nyayakandi, Vyoma, Vyoma Bharati Vritti, and like that, many books are there on that. So, we'll now see Nyaya system. So, there are seven Padarthas. Okay. That is there, and which are mentioned here. So, Dravya Guna Karma Samvaya, Vishesha, Samvaya, Nabhava. So, they in the number nine system also they have only seven Padarthas. So, they've written, the section 270. Because many of them are not actually proper Padarthas. They can be subsumed within the logically, like Nidra, San, and all of that. So the seven Padarthas are as follows. The Dravya are the substance which are there, which are seven, nine Dravyas. Earth, water, light, air, ether, kala, dik, atma, mind. Okay? So ether and space are different. Akash and dik are different things which are there. So these are the nine Dravyas which are there. Okay. Next thing which we have is so these nine things. So there's one beautiful book which you can read, Tarka Sangraha. So they have defined all the Dravya, all the everything is being defined over there. Next we have is a Guna. 24 Gunas are there. Okay, Samanya Guna and Vishesha Guna. So some Gunas are common and some Gunas are technical Gunas. And some Gunas are Nitya and some Gunas are Anitya. So like that they are Gunas. So the Gunas are Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Starsha, Sankhya, number, Harinam, size, medium size, large size, Prithakva, individuality, Sanyoga, conjunction, Vibhav, disjunction, Paratva, Aparatva, priority and posterity. So that is related to fire and near, that is distance. Buddhi, knowledge, Sukha, Dukha, Icha, Desh, Prayatna, that's effort, Gurutva, heaviness, Tattva, fluidity, Sneha, viscosity, Dharma, merit, Dharma, Adharma, Shabda, and Samskar, tendency. And then we discuss about that. There's different, they're given a definition. Next, Padartha is the our karma, this karma. So that means action, which is there. Samvaya means generality. To general. How we have, so nine Dravyas are there and they are generalized as one Dravya. So like that we have. Vishesha is opposite of it. So there's peculiarity attached to it. And they have their own thing, it is present in the Nitya Dravya which are there. Each and every atom, they have their own Visheshtva, which is there. Samvaya is the inference. Okay. So in the Nyaya system, they have Samvaya and Samvaya as different types of Sambandha. But in the Vaisheshika system, Samvaya is a good and Samvaya is a Padartha. Like that they have. So everything is like, as we have discussed like that. Abhava, that is non-existence. So Abhava are of four kinds. Prak Abhava, which is non-existent, anti-recent non-existent. So suppose if I write a book, so now that book has come into place. So up until now the book is not there. Now the book is there. So that is Prak Abha. Pradhams Abha. Something which was there until now, but now it is destroyed. So there's a jar. Now I don't it. So now the jar is no more there. One is Atyant Abhava. Absolute non-existence. Okay. So which was never there and which will never be there. Like color in the air. So there will be no time when you will have color in the air. And you will have mutual non-existence. So it means that the non-essence of two things. So this is different from the Vitakva, which is there. So, like a chair is different from a pot. Okay. So there are two different, like they will never be same. Okay. Like that, the Vaisheshika that is there. And ultimately when I am Vaisheshika, the philosophy that you realize you have the knowledge, okay, and when you do the knowledge, you never do so like the problem is actually so now we'll see the philosophy which is problem is that we have ajnana. Because of ajnana we have distorted views, dosha. There are some conceptions. And because of that we do karma. By that we have rebirth and by rebirth we have dukkha. So ajnana is the primary cause. And the solution is jnana, which is there. So when we have the proper jnana of the seven padarthas or 16 padarthas according to jnana, then we can actually, get liberated. And what is liberation to them? The destruction of the Atman. That is it. In the sense that, all the qualities which are there in Atman, knowledge which is there in Atman, all the qualities you will destroy all of that. And then you have. So they don't talk much about Nyaya, about afterlife or like what is the, what happens in the Mukti. They don't describe about. Next school of thought is the Sankhya school of thought. And in the Sankhya school, they first of all accept three Brahmanas. Pratiksha, Shabda, and Abhinayam. Wherein the concept is that there are 25 tattvas which are there. Okay? And no matter from which class, from which varnashram you are, you have to get liberated because there is suffering. And there's no prerequisite. The only thing is to get the knowledge of the tattvas, okay, and thereby the position which is stuck in the prakriti, you will get liberated. What happens after liberation is not mentioned. So that is their philosophy, in essence. And they give the proofs for up until now, like in Nyaya Vaisheshika, they don't talk about prakriti. But in the Sankhya philosophy, they talk about prakriti also. In the Pramana, they give 5 reasons for the existence of prakriti. They say that there are many effects are there. Okay, they all are united and they all are dependent on one another. So there must be some definite final cause for all the effects which are there. And another thing is that all the so Samanya where the second reason is that all the things they have their particular qualities. Not all things have all qualities. Some things have some quality, other things have other qualities. And therefore, there must be a common cause which is the source of all the qualities. And we see that all the effects are caused due to an action, which has a all the effects which are there, they are produced due to an action, and it is done because of a cause. And the cause of that activity, they say, is prakriti. And the other understanding is the truth reason is that the effect is the explicit and the cause is the implicit. And therefore, the effect which points to a word cause where they are potentially contained. Okay, so there must be some adhyar for all the causes, for all the effects which are there. And the last one is that everything in this universe has a purpose. Okay, there's a definite cause for which is there. And so it points us to a similar thing, and that is the uh, Prakriti. And that is the Prakriti. And like this, they have uh, four kind of all the 25 tattvas which are there. They talk about four things which are there. Okay, so one is the Prakriti, which is the cause. That is the Mula Prakriti. Second is the Vikriti, that which is caused, the effect, which is the Mahatattva, Ahankaran, five Tanmatras in Sankhya. And then there are Prakriti and Vikriti. So they cause something and they are effect of something. Okay? Both are there. That is the Buddhi, Ahankara, like that. Vikriti is only that which is being produced. Okay? The 16 senses like that. So like this they have. And there are philosophy, there's also the understanding of Chitta Vritti and Chitti Chaya. So in the, as I said, in the Nyaya Visheshika philosophy, the understanding is that the knowledge is in the soul itself. Hare Krishna, yes. Wanted to say something? Okay. So in the Nyaya Visheshika, the thing is that so what I have discussed about the knowledge is in the soul itself. In the Sankhya and in the Patanjali and Vedanta, this is the knowledge, the material knowledge is chitta vritti. It is a transformation of our mind. So when we hear something, they produce a samskara. And that samskara that creates a transformation in mind and which is being stored. Okay. So like that their philosophy. And Chitti Chaya is that, so now this is the monovritti. So how is the soul able to comprehend that? Because the soul is different from the mind. Because the consciousness of the soul, it is the reflection of that is in the mind. Okay, and because of that, the soul is able to grasp what is there. So that is the philosophy. Okay, that is how they say. So then we have the, as we have discussed, we have the Prakriti, the Prakriti Vikriti, the Vikriti, and the our Abhyudaya Rupa, which is neither productive and nor produce. That is the producer. So producer is not produced by something, neither does it produce something. So all the 25 tattvas they have into the 20 in these four things which they say. So producer is here, Vikriti are 16, so 17. 17 plus 7. How much is that? uh, 2024, which is the Prakriti Vikriti, and Prakriti, the more Prakriti, is the 25th element, which is the. So, like this, they have, and they say that we should have the knowledge of this. And when we realize this, okay, how everything in this world is a product of the three gunas which are there. So, we understand the chronology of how they originate. So, we have already covered this. I'm not again going through Ahamkar in the Sattvic tribe, in the Rajasic Tamasic tribe, and how the evolution that takes place. And one important thing is that the Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedanta, they are Satkarya. That the effect is there in the cause. Because in the Nyaya they follow the Asatkarya. They don't say that the effect is there in the cause. So like that, the difference is there. And it is actually, there are many points, there are many arguments and counter arguments which are given. So in the Shara Sandarbhas also, I think so in the Parmatma Sandarbha, most probably, this one is establishing. So even we accept the Sat Karya, the presence of the effect in the cause. And they give the reasons. That first reason is that Asada Karana. But if the effect was not there, if the cause was not there, the effect was not there, what is the cause of it? Okay? When we say that oil is getting produced from the sesame, it means the oil is already existing in the sesame. Otherwise, how can we prove it? Next we have is the Upadana Grahana. That everything, they have a definite effect. A particular effect is only caused from a particular cause. A jar can be produced out of clay wood. A clay can be produced out of thread wood. So everything has a particular effect. And thereby there's a need to have a cause, which is the cause of that particular effect. Sarva Sambhavana Abhavan. That if this was not accepted, that a particular effect is a cause of particular effect is a cause of particular effect, then any cause could give rise to any effect. Sesame is from oil is from sesame. It is not from sticks, little sticks. Okay. But if we are not to accept the point of our this particular cause and effect relation, then it will give rise to this. And third point is that Shakya Karanam. Because that the efficient cause will produce only that effect for which it is efficient. That the particular cause can only produce the effects of which it is capable, of which it can be the efficient cause. Karana Bhava means that everything in this world, there's a cause and there's a effect and there's a cause to it. It is unheard of that there is something which is which is like not the effect is not there, the cause is not there, and it is only created. Okay, only the effect is. So like that, it just to be understood. For spiritual existence of the spiritual, they like Jiva, they give the example. There is no Ishwar in here. Ishwarena Siddhi. Okay. After the later commentators, because they understood that if we don't have the Ishwar, then it will be problematic. Who will read it? So they added Ishwar. Wrong side of Ishwara in our Sankhya philosophy. So Sankhya Tattva Kaunili, it is by Ishwara Krishna, who is a disciple of Asuri, who was a disciple of Kapila. This Kapila is different from Lord Kapila of Bhagavatam. And so his Sankhya Tattva comedy were short works. Okay, Sankhya Karika is a work by Ishwara Krishna. 72 Karikas are there. And Sri Vachaspati Mishra, he wrote a commentary on this, which is known as Sankhya Tattva comedy. This is there. And this, so this is the primary text for now. Okay, there is Sankhya Sutra also written by Kapil himself, but they are now non-existent, or what we have is not, we are not sure whether it is the original form of it, actual Sankhya Sutra that we have. So the Sankhya Sutra is what is famously studied. And very short work, it is there. So the five ideals for the Purusha is that all objects in the world are meant to be enjoyed by someone, and then that cannot be the Prakriti itself. So there is some distinct entity somewhere, and all the objects are meant for Prakriti, because sorry, all objects cannot mean for Prakriti, because Prakriti is ajara, it is jara, unconscious. So how can it uses the objects which are there? And another point is that all objects of the external world, including mind, senses, and intellect, are themselves unconscious. They cannot function without guide from some intelligent principle. They must be controlled and directed by it in order to achieve anything or realize any end. So the point is that uh, the all the objects in the eternal world, they are themselves unconscious. So what is the source of this creation? Energy from conscious thoughts. And the non-intelligent property and all its elements, which by nature are pleasure or painful and neutral, they are not being experienced by some intelligent force. So the Indriya Vishayas, which are there, if they are not used by a sentient being, then what is the use? And the last point is, which is a very powerful point, that every human wants to attain liberation and be free from pain and misery. But whatever is derived from Prakriti brings pain and misery. So how can then Prakriti cause it? And then they talk about the plurality in the Purushas. Different Purushas are of different quantities. I mean, the different Purushas which are there, they are different duties which are there. It is not that only one Purusha is it. And liberation is by you cultivate the discriminative knowledge, and by then you are liberated. Exact nature of mukti is not prescribed by these systems of philosophies. So with this, we are done with the Sankhya philosophy. So any doubts up until now? Any doubts? Okay. So now we'll move on. Next is the Patanjali's role. So Patanjali, they accept the entire epistemology of Sankhya. Some points of difference are there. And then they give a sadhya, the way of realizing it. The Sankhya is okay, fine, Prakriti, the existence of Prakriti, existence of Purusha. But like, how do we actually realize that? That is there in the some Patanjali. So in the Patanjali, there are Ashta asanas are there. Okay, which are to be studied. Before that, what we need to study is that there are five stages of mind, the Patanjali. One is a shifter. There is a scattered, uncontrolled mind. Second is a Buddha mind. So it is not scattered all over around, but it is dull and delusive. And then we have Vikshit, Buddha, and Vikshita. The agitated and distracted mind, which is capable of being focused. Ekagra is a focused mind, and Niruddha is the controlled mind. So they have to bring the mind to the Niruddha, that is it. And they have the six systems of philosophy. The stages of mind. And now we will see the astronomers, which are Nama, Yama, uh, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So Yama means the rules, the regulation which are to be followed. Okay, four rules. So, and in Patanjali, the listing is that after the four rules which we have with ISKCON, there is also the next is to have ahimsa, practice ahimsa, but practice satya, that is truthfulness, and next is asaya, that is not a general agreement on, you know, the opportunity to practice the non-attachment. Right up there, basically. Brahmacharya is to follow celibacy. Now, parigraha is means to deny the worldly appearances which are there. And aparigraha, it is to have a non-possessive uh, identity. Like to not be possessive. If someone gives you something and someone else is asking for it, and you become very attached to it as a I'm not going to do it. That is it. In Myanmar, again, it is the revolution in one's habits and it is to organize one's personality. One is first the shaucha, that is the physical and the mental cleaning, which is a santosha, which is a mental state in which even a beggar, he's actually in the way of you can say uh, the physical part is training the body, and in the mind form is it is to have the chitta shuddhi, or that is the man shuddhi, and like that many shuddhis are there. Okay, even in the yajna, in the yajna as we have discussed, the dravya part, dravya shuddhi is there, and the different shuddhis which are there, dravya and sthana bhuta shuddhi and mana shuddhi, chitta shuddhi which are there. Okay, so that is it. Next we have is the santosha. So you should practice contentment, which should be there. Tapa, austerity, sadhya, that is the studying of the scriptures, and Ishvara Pranidharini, that is the surrender to the Lord. So Yama Niyama Asana. So these are some physical postures which are there, which are to be practiced. And in the original system, only the I think so 84 were prescribed asanas were there, of which four are very prominent for practicing the meditation. Sukhasan, Swastikasan, Padmasan, and Siddhasan. And then many other asanas derived in the commentaries, and many it has somehow progressed in that way. Next is the dhyana, pranayama, regulation of the prana force which is there. Because prana, it is the basis of the creation of this human body. When prana leaves the body, everything, it is the vital force. So, a person is declared as dead. So, regulating that is what is very essential. And in the Brihad purpose, it is mentioned that the thread of prana, which runs through the body, it is what holds together the body itself, and also not just the the uh, the our um, the physical body which we have, but also the universe that is also holded by the prana. the entire this our uh, line that logic is given to the Patanjali. So that's why the explanation of the prana is very essential in the Patanjali system. So they mention Ishvara, but their mention of the Ishvara in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which is the primary text, they are very nicely they mention Ishvara. Okay, there is how we if you have to prove something, so how mathematics we take let the answer be X when we prove something, and at the end we get the answer. So X comes in and the X goes. So the only relevance of the X is to get the answer. So similarly, Ishvara in Patanjali, Ishvara is there, you should marry one Ishvara. Then you are liberated. So when you are liberated, then there is no significance of Ishvara. Then there is no thought about Ishvara. So like that they have in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So very clearly he brings the concept because in the Indian time, in the Vedic system, you can't have a philosophy without having Ishvara. Okay. So that is why they add Ishvara into it. So Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, and then we have Pratyahara, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. To withdraw the senses from the external sense objects. Okay, to bring focus our attention. Dharana, it means to begin focusing on one uh, one particular object. It can be anything, any mantra, any form, anything it can be. Patanjali doesn't, limits on as to what particular thing one has to meditate. It can be anything. And next, the mature form of that is the dhyana. So in the dharana, the focus is on elimination of the fluctuations of the mind. But in dhyana, there is a steadiness is the focus. So, as I said, the Manovriti is there. Patanjali, what they say, the philosophy is that, see, all the problem, everything is because of the mind. The Manovrittis are there. So, destroy all the vrittis in the mind. That sutra is also there. Forgetting the sutra. Yoga chit, yoga mana chitti nirod, chitta virod, chitta vritti nirodha, something like that. Sutra is. So they abstain the senses from all the external objects, and they meditate onto something. Any object it can be like internal meditation. And that's how they are liberated. That is the philosophy. And in samadhi, the meditator is totally absorbed into the object of his meditation. So that is their philosophy. Okay. Of course, there are many good points there, but I'm just going through the important padarthas of all the systems of philosophy. We can't cover it in 3 hours. Okay. For 11 verses, okay. One more thing, someone can just write and please remind me tomorrow. As someone had also asked about, the how to study the path of scriptures. I mean, the way of study, the methodology. So that we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. So even to study in detail these, these things which are there, how, like what is the afterthing of this course, if someone is interested. Okay, this is just an introduction. So you can please remind me. So we'll discuss all of this. Now the fifth Darshana is the Karma Mimamsa. So the points which are mentioned, 24, they are not the padarthas of Karma Mimamsa, they are major points. Okay. The Karma Mimamsa Sutra was written by Janani Rishi, who is a disciple of Sri Vyasadeva. And it is the biggest, longest text 2600, like different numbers are there, like 2500 sutras are there. Vedanta Sutra has 500, 550 sutras are there. Nyaya Sutra is also 500. Vaisheshika is also of the same range. Sankhya Dharika has got only 72. And I think so. Um, in the Patanjali system also, they like very few uh, sutras are there. 196 sutras are there. So, but the Karma Mimamsa, they have 2400 sutras in it. It's a very long text which is here. And Shabani Bhashya is there. So on the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Srila Vyasa has given his commentary, and Vachaspati Mishra has also given his commentary. Sankhya Karika for the Sankhya is the main text, and the Sankhya Tattva is the commentary. In the Karma Mimamsa, Shabani Bhashya is a major and very big commentary, many very important work is there. Ganganath Jha is a commentator of the 20th century. He has translated the Nyaya Sutras, the Vaisheshika Sutras, the Yoga Sutras, the Mimamsa Sutras, and I'm not sure, and the Sankhya Tattva comedy also. So he has translated all of them. Okay, of course, uh, he's mostly from his writing, it looks like he is a Advaitvadi. I'm not suggesting to go and read because you will hardly understand anything. Anything you will hardly understand, but just mentioning. And then there are two schools, Kumarila Bhatta, Prabhakara Bhatta, which is there. And the essence of the Karma Mimamsa is to establish the nature of right action, dharma. And Shabda Praman is the basis. They say that the Shabda is eternal. Shabda Praman is the principal Praman. Everything else should conform to it. The Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Pratek Praman, everything should conform to it. And the point is that you should be karma, and by karma you generate piety. By that you are ascend, you can go to heaven. Now the question comes in that, so you do yajna, you do yajna. But it is not that all of a sudden you are promoted to heaven. Afterlife you go to. And they believe in the transmigration. All the six systems they believe in transmigration of the soul. And so they say that, and the thing is that the action which you do, the effect of that is the ascent to the heaven. But we are not instantly elevated to the heaven. So how do you understand it? So they said that when you do some action, apurva is a very important term in Mimamsa Shastra. That is generated and it is stored, the result is stored in that way, in some subtle way. And when you leave the body, then it is manifest. And the Karma Mimamsa, the most dangerous philosophy, and Sri Vyasa has countered them mainly in his Brahma Sutras. That first sutra, Om Athasa Brahma Jignasa. So actually in the Madhya Sampradaya they add Om before and after the sutra. So Om Athasa Brahma Jignasa Om Janman Yasya Om, or that base. Because Karma Mimamsa is a very deadly philosophy. This Karma Kand which we talk about is from this Karma Mimamsa only. A very deadly philosophy. So what we say is that you can't attain to liberation by Dhyan and knowledge. That is not possible. You can only attain it by exhausting the good and bad karma. But for exhausting that, you have to experience them. And to experience them, you should do karma. You should go through it. The goal is to attain the heaven and Javya is the path. And Brahmatra, you enjoy the duty. It's a very transactional behavior with the duties. Karma kanda. You enjoy the duty, you say, I want this. So it's a transaction. You give something and you get something. And so, in the philosophy, they say that the you know, they say that see, the ultimate aim is mukti, the karma namsa. What are they as a mukti? Germany only talked about attaining to heaven. Okay. And he hinted mukti, but he said that mukti you will only attain uh, by exhausting your karma. So you do your karma, you enjoy. And mentality is there now. Okay, you can do bhakti, you can all do this thing, but first you enjoy. First you do about with your bhakti. So that enjoyment, the example is to attainment of heaven. Okay, understood. Liberation is the end goal, like the ultimate aim, like which they don't talk about much, but they just mention it. But the thing is attaining the heaven. Understood? Yes. No. That shlok is there in Bhagavatam. उपभोगिना सम्यति हविष्य कृष्ण वर्तमान भूय वर्धते. Okay, by exhausting your karma, you can never attain. उपभोगिना that shlok is there. Shamyati. हविष्य कृष्ण वर्तमान न जातु कामा कामा नाम उपभोगिना सम्यति हविष्य कृष्ण वर्तनेय भूय वर्धते. As applying butter, as applying butter to a fire does not diminish the fire, but instead increases the amount. The endeavor to stop lusty desires by continual enjoyment can never be successful. In fact, one must voluntarily cease from material desires. It is impossible. The more you add butter in the fire, it is the Bhagavatam, no? 9.19.14. Check. First, now only check the words. Najati kama kamanam upabhurina samyati. Havishya Krishna Vatmena Bhuya Vedavati. 9.19.14. Go and check that verse. Very clear. It is impossible. You can see in your life. How can you become, uh, you can, by exhausting your karma, you can have. It is never possible. Because you are always constantly creating karma. No? By exhausting karma means that you have two things. One, you stop doing karma. So that you do a karma, nishtam bhakti. And secondly, your karma which already is there, you have to burn that. And only bhakti. Again, it is the basics. The basics are very important before studying all this. Only bhakti can destroy the karma. That is why the discussion was there in the sixth canto. Parishit Maharaj saying, Jnana and all of this cannot destroy. Okay? Autonomy cannot destroy. But bhakti only can destroy. So if your pura karma cannot destroy, then it will go, you will have to suffer that. So are you understanding what I am trying to say? Completely understood. That is how the thing is there. That is why before studying all this, this basic knowledge which you are now getting, that is no product. To actually study properly, you should. It's very essential to get your basics very clear. Very, very important. That's why I should read that books. When he is anchoring that, he hammers that. I mean, anchoring. I'm interested. The hammers the points. They will attain. See, bhakti. That verse is in the Gaudiya. We'll cover to that. We'll come to that. But and for attaining anything, even for individual liberation, bhakti is required. And that's why in Mayavad they have the Pancha Pasam. They do worship. Okay. So that the thing is, they use the ladder to climb up to the goal. And when they attain the goal, they throw the ladder. So they do deity worship to become like Brahman. And then they throw the ladder. So bhakti is somewhat little bhakti is required. But so they attend the impersonal liberation. But then again come down. Are you understanding? Bhakti is required. Some sense bhakti is there. To practice bhakti. Only only theoretically they mention it, but actually you go and see they do it. No, are bhakti are of different types, Baba. Who said bhakti means only Ayachati bhakti? That is the highest form of bhakti. Again, basics. Bhakti doesn't mean Ayachati bhakti only. Bhakti, Sri Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha has mentioned 360 types of bhakti. Go and check it. It is a Kama bhakti, yes, Kama bhakti, Jnana Mishra Kama bhakti, Karma Mishra Kama bhakti, and that he has mentioned 360 types of bhakti. Who said bhakti means only Ayachati? Ayachati, Ayachati is the highest type of bhakti. And that is what is desired. Other things are just transactions. Are you understanding? That is not bhakti, that is correct. Sakam bhakti. If that is not bhakti, then why do you say Sakam bhakti and Nishtam bhakti? Why that terminology is used? Are you understanding what I am trying to say? Bhakti, Ayataki Pratyata is what is we hunger, we long for. है ना? What is that verse? अनुकूलेन कृष्णं भक्तेनुशीलं ज्ञानकर्म अनावृतम what is that verse from Bhakti Rasam Sindhu? ज्ञानकर्म अनावृतम anu that verse is then from Bhakti Rasam Sindhu.
Who is that? Anukulena Krishnanu Shriram Bhaktiruttamam.
Say again.
Anukulena Krishnanu Shriram Bhaktiruttamam.
The starting. Bhakti.
Even I forgot.
Huh? Say again.
Even I forgot, Roji.
That verse is there. Jnana karmadi navrita. Anukulena Krishnanu Shriram Bhaktiruttamam. So that is the definition. That is what we hunter for. Yes. So in the Karma Mohamsa, we have this that to just by mantra, they say that if you chant the mantra, the deity has to come here. The demigod will have to come. They say the mantra control everything. It's a very dangerous philosophy. And they were after India. Anything was what they want, ritual. One after that, ritual. So much, and then when we say that why Buddha came, we are now very prominent, me getting was very prominent because of these karma nonsense. That's the greatest enemies which are of the Vedanta. Greatest enemy. They have the very dangerous philosophy. And that is why so Brahman was so much after this yajna, so much after this ritual, it gave rise to Bauddha Dharma and Jaina Dharma. The Kshatriyas they took up to Bauddha Dharma, and the Vaishyas they took up to Jaina Dharma. So it's Tattva. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Tattva is written this. Sakya Sima is different from Lord Buddha, but he is also called as Buddha. There are many similarities. We both had realization under a tree in Gaya. Many we had seen videos and like that. So he propounded. They were so disgusted with this Brahman, this thing of permanence, and they took up to Bauddha Dharma, and they took up to Jaina Dharma. So, and when we say Adhava Brahman Jignasa, the common And the thing is that Atha means that after attaining the human body, it should do the Brahma Jignasa. But that is actually Athatha Karma Mimamsa. That is the first sutra uh, of the Karma Mimamsa of Jaimini. And he means that now after attaining the human body, now let's discuss about karma. Athacha Brahma Jignasa, the correct understanding is that after going through the karma imams, after doing this all this ritual and all that, after being fed up of the all these things, now do Brahma Jignasa. So he's targeting, Raja is targeting them. So go read Govinda Bhashya. Govinda Bhashya, Baldev Bhushan, he is mentioning that. He is mentioning in the first sutra only. Why? What is the implication? So that was the problem here. That is the philosophy. And there are five types of statements in this. So now we are just going to study some fundamental tenets of the Paramamamsa. Nirmi, there are the injunctions which are there, mantra, there is the mantra, nama there, there is category, some descriptions, nature, the prohibitions, arthavat. There is glorification. You should do this so that to understand this. They say that there are three styles of writing. Sutra is the very first form of writing. Sutta is we are the Vedic hymns, and Shastra are like we are the Dharma Shastra, different scriptures which are written in different meters. And then Chatushtra. So, four things which you. So, yes, karma down, yes. So, like, I mean, what are you trying to? Everything is karma, result down, yes. So, there are every yogic text, they should have these four things in the conclusion. The first is the adhikari, who is qualified to read the text. Next is the sambandha. What is the connection of the subject matter of that book to the person who is reading? Abhipaya, the subject matter, and the prayojana. What will the person understand upon understanding the meaning? Then now this the exegetical format, the adhikaran. So this adhikaran, even Srila Baldar Buddha follows this in his Govinda Bhashya. We will see this. So they have a way of how a text, the exegetical format is there. So first they have the subject matter, the Vishaya Vakya. So you have some subject matter. Then they have a Samshaya. Is it this way or that way? Okay. How do you understand this? Then they have a Purva Paksha, the argument of the opponent. And then we have a Uttar Paksha, their own argument. And they come to the Nirnaya or Samvaya. So this is being presented. So this is followed by all the philosophies, like all the four Madhacharya, Ramacharya, and Bhagavad they follow this. Next we have is Tattvarya Linga. To understand any text, there are six things which we should understand. Upakrama, Upasanhar, the opening statement and the concluding statement. And Shita Jiva Goswami, in Paramatma Sandarbha, he is using how Bhagavatam, Bhagavan is the topic, he is using this. He says the opening statement, Janmad Yasa, and the end statement, Tasma Yenu Vibhata Atu. So Satyam Param Dhimai, Satyam Param Dhimai. That is the same thing, same issue here. So the opening and the concluding statement should talk about the same thing. Abhyas. What is being repeated? He says, Swami, he shows that how what is repeated is Bhavan. Apurvata, the uniqueness of this book. So the verse for this is Dhamma Prayojita Karma Atat, Dharma Prayojita Kavita Vyatra Karma Nirmatsara Anam Sadam Vedyan Vastavam Matra Visvashayan Karapet Kapata Mulam. Srimad Bhagavata Mahamuni Kripate Mapare, Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kripate Mapare Ishvara, subject to ever repeated, Atra with the Shushu Takshan. This is the novelty of the Bhagavata 1.1.2. Okay? Udabhakti. The validity, how it should be relevant Arthavas is what is being glorified, and Phala is the result. So these six things are there. So you can also take any text. You can see the opening statement, what is the end statement, you can see what is being repeated, what is the novelty, what is the Arthavat, and thereby you can come to the conclusion. So did you, I mean, I think you must on your point, with what you said that are all the results are bound by results. So that is a fact. So are you mentioning? Yes, they say this. They say that that's what I'm saying. No? If you do karma, the Lord is everyone is bound to give the result. So they say this in this. Okay? First, Vishnu is Swatantra. There's no doubt about it. He gives the result, that is one thing, but he's Swatantra. But they say so. That's why it's so dangerous. No? So dangerous. You have to do this. Lord has to do this. That's why it's very dangerous philosophy. Then the meaning we have already covered Shabdat and Bhavartha Lakshana. So we have the Mukhya Artha, we have the Lakshana Artha, and the suggestive Artha, which is there. Then we have the whole science of how do you counter. Actually, you put the Vedic scriptures which are there. The Lord is Swatantra, he's not Paratantra. It is not in that way. And karma also, many a times Krishna, Lord, he destroys the karma. Okay. Or even demigods, they can change the order of the karma. When you do Upasana Kand, sincerely, not now, previously, sincerely Upasana Kand, you are good. So in the demigods, they have the power. They couldn't change the karma. They cannot destroy the karma, but they can change the order. So if you are to suffer something in this life, they will postpone it to some other life. It's it. Scriptures are there, so many things are there. Scriptures are the basis, not logic. So like this, they have very, very dangerous philosophy. With this, we are done with the five systems. Now we are into the Vedanta. Vedanta Sutra was compiled by Vasudev. He refutes all the philosophies, particularly in the 2 point. So Vedanta Sutra, 500 sutras are there. 4 adhyayas, each adhyaya has 4 padas. So in the second pada, second uh, adhyaya, he is refuting all the different philosophies. In the first adhikaran, he is refuting the Sankhya. Second adhikaran, the Vaisheshika. Third adhikaran, the Bauddha philosophy. There is the Vaibhashikam. So there are 4 subtypes of Bauddha. So he is refuting that in third, fourth, fifth, sixth. He is refuting the Jaina philosophy. So he is refuting all the philosophies in that. And in the Brahma Sutras, that there is also mentioned the subject matter of the Brahma Sutra. In brief, you can read that. By different names, it is being called Brahma Sutra, Sharirika Sutra, Vyasa Sutra, Madharayana Sutra, Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta Darshan, Mimamsa. It means the same thing. Sutra also. Many times by Bhagavad they say Sutra. Sutra also means the Brahma Sutras. So all the confusion which was created by this system is the true meaning of all the philosophies. Srila Vyasa resolved all of them in the Upanishads and in the Brahma Sutra. And Sri Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on that. That's why we never had any commentary on Brahma Sutras. And then, the story in the Darbar of Jaipur, they said that no, you should have. So then Dalgavita Bhushan said, okay, fine, I will do it. So they said, they laughed when he said that within a week he will do. Because Madhvacharya took 18 years, I think so, and Ramanujacharya took 30 years to do their commentary. And he was saying to do it one week. But he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord himself narrated. And that is why it is called Govinda Bhashya. The interpretation of the Vedanta Sutra, of course, they will try to uh, summarize the essence of the four uh, of all um, the books of all the Upanishads. Um, but still, the Brahma Sutra was so difficult to understand that the commentary was required. And that's why all the acharyas they gave the commentary. So now we'll see. So the commentary, the interpretation of Vedanta is also two. Advaita Vedanta and Vairava. Two. Vaishnava Vedanta. My heart is not the philosophy. I'm not going through it. So they say that we are all Brahman. You know, we are. They have the Pratibimbavad or Pratichedavad. Part of that, reflection of that, and it is caused by avidya. Okay, so like I mean, those things you already know. So I'm not going through like actually do the how it happens, how the causes, the Maya. And they say Maya is Anil Bachani. It is neither existent nor not existent nor both of them. Because it is very problematic for them to accept any of that. Because for them only Brahman exists. So how can then Maya exist? Because then they will have to say two things are existing. And they can't say that it is non-existent. So how can a non-existing thing accept do something cover Brahman? And they can't say that it is both because it is incongruent. So they say it is anirvachaniya. But then of course our acharyas they very only they are into defeated it. But when you say reflection, then there has to be some substratum to reflection. Sky is reflected in the river. So what is that substratum? Okay. Many repetitions are there you can check. So we'll now come to the Vaishnava Vedanta. First, we are going to discuss about the Sri Sampradaya. So when this Mayavad philosophy was written, the purpose was that to bring people back to Vedas. And when the Buddha came, he sent it later. So much of animal slaughtering was going on. So when people asked him, does God exist? So he remained silent. But his silence was taken as, okay, so there is no God. And they started following, it became like people started following non-Vedic paths. So to bring that to Vedas, it was the Mayavad philosophy. And it is that's why called about double Buddhism. To counteract that, the first was Sri Ramanujacharya, who was born in the, I think so in the 10th century, 11th century, he was born. And first the Alavas were there, then Nathmuni and Yamunacharya. So that life history also you can go and study. That is there, yeah. That is there. No one understands Mayavad. Okay, that is there. But it's very appealing to people. We are all one, that is, it appeals a lot. And that is how it is. Because see, the purpose was to remove the all Vaishnavas, the Rakshasa mentality people. Because we say, because see, Mayavad was not there, they will come and study Vaishnavism. And they are of that Rakshasa Buddhi, so they will come and correct this. So that's why it was something was thrown to them, so they are into it. Okay, that is the reason. That's why we have prostitute, like not by juxtaposition, I'm not saying that, but as we are discussing, why there were prostitution in Dwarka of Sri Krishna, Dwarka Sri Krishna. Because if that was not there, so people who required that, they would go and commit the higher class. So that's why to cater to them, the prostitution houses. Okay? So, I mean, I'm not saying that this is like that, but the question why this is there, why that is there, but it is to cater to people. Different bhaktis are there. That is why it is. So now we'll straight away. So Sri Ramanujacharya, His works was he wrote Vedanta Sangrama, which is a concise statement of all philosophical doctrines of the Vedas. Like he's talking about the Upanishads. Vedanta Side, a very brief commentary of the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Bhuta is a longer commentary, but still a brief one. Sri Bhashya is a very elaborate commentary. Then he wrote many other books, Sharanagati Gadya, Sriranga Gadya, Shivaikunda Gadya, Gita Bhashya commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. His philosophy is Vishishtabhaya. In a sense, what it means is qualified monism. Sharira Shariri. The body is dependent on the Sharir, on the soul. So that's why the Jiva and Brahman, they are dependent, the Jiva and Prakriti are dependent on Brahman. As a Sharira Shariri is dependent. That's philosophy they have. And they say that Jiva, its intrinsic nature is, it is Jnana Sarup and Abhidhat Siddhi. So it is not Jnana Sarup and it can also do other things. That is by that term, Abhidhat Siddhi. So they have this, the relation of Jiva Brahma, Chitta Chitta Ishwara is by the Sharira Sharira analogy. They are also Satkarya, they are except Shabda Praman, Pratyakshata Anuman Praman. They have this, and they say that Jiva, the free man is there. So the first karma, I mean, free will is there. He does, he chooses, and uh, the Lord provides the results to. Okay, he sanctions the results. And Sachin Anand and all those concepts are there. They say that after liberation, all the jivas they have similar anubhuti of pleasure. Okay, their concept is this. Madhacharya didn't say. They said that there is this Taratamya is there. The difference is there. Any in Gavya that is accepted. That this work is experienced in the Madhurya Ras is not experienced in the Shantanas. But they say that same is experienced. Of course, there can be Samanvaya. That is also there, but just leave that point. Okay. Don't have any grudge for any Sampradaya. All these points which are there, you know, they have debates and Madhva and Sri Sampradaya have a lot of debates. But we are not here to pinpoint and go find the mistakes. Full Samanvaya can be done. It is not that Ramanujacharya didn't know all this. It was just analogy to explain dependency of Jiva and Prakriti on Brahman. It's not the actual meaning of that. So that Samanvaya can be done. So this philosophy where the main thing, Vishishtabhaya, allowed a manifestation into Para, the transcendental form, Yuha, the Vasudev Sankarshan Pradyumna, Vibha is the incarnation, Archa is the Archa Vidya, and Antaryami. By Bhakti, we can realize it. And that is in essence the philosophy. There are two schools, main schools. Vadakalai and Tenakalai, propounded by Pillai Lokacharya, and Vadakalai, propounded by Vedanta Bishop. The difference are you will see that. So the Alavas are the principal Krishna is the original source. Krishna. Krishna. Lakshmi, she is main. Okay. Vishnu gave the knowledge to Lakshmi, Lakshmi gave the knowledge to Lakshmindra, the Parampara. Krishna is the and so I mean, can you give the context? I mean, question. Narayan, yeah, Narayan, yes. Pancharatra origin source is Narayan, yes. So the Alavar then they have the good Brahmas. So Tenakalai, they say that the Tamil Brahmas they have more authority than the Vedic scriptures. Vadakalai says opposite. Vadagalai, they say that Sri Lakshmi ji is at the same spiritual status as Sri Narayan. But Tenagalai, they say that she is a special jiva. Vadagalai, they say that Bhakti Yoga, Prapatti, Sadhyopaya, that is needed. The way surrender is needed. Menagalai, they say that this is Menagalai, they say. Tenagalai, they say that only mercy is needed. Menagalai, they say that the view is that the Tenagalai, the Hetuka Kapakshi, but there is no cause for this mercy. But Vadakalai, they say that the the position, the arising, there is arising from a cause. That is there. So now we'll go to Brahma Sampradaya. Brahma, Madhya, so uh, Lord Narayan, he gave the knowledge to Lord Brahma, he gave the knowledge to Narada, to Vyasdev, and then to Madhacharya. So they have the philosophy of Dvaita Vedanta. There's absolute differentiation between the Jiva, Prakriti, and the Paramatma, Brahman, which is there. Absolute differentiation. So his works are known as Sarvamula Grantha. There are 36 works which are there. Whereas the commentaries on Prasantra, Gita Bhashya, Gita Tattva, Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Anubhashya, Anuvyakhyayana, Nyaya Vivarana, the 10 Upanishad Bhashya, the 16 Rigveda Bhashya, 10 short monographs which are there, which are Dasha Prakarana, Pramana Lakshana, Katha Lakshana, Upayu Khandana, Mayavadu Khandana, Prapancha Mithyanuvadanana Khandana, Tattva Sankhyanā, Tattva Viveka, Tattva Gota, Vishnu Tattva Nirnaya, and Krishna Dharma Nirnaya, commentaries on Smriti Prasthana, Bhagavad Tattparya, Mahabharata Tattparya Nirnaya, and then some poems. So like that's 16 works are there. And then Tantra Sarasmudra is also one very important book written by Sri Madhacharya. He's giving the summary of all the books. So they say that there is full proper differentiation, and they have this like this. Tattva is of two types: independent, dependent. Independent is Vishnu, horizontal is dependent. Dependent is of two types: existent, non-existent. Existing is of two types: conscious, non-conscious. Achetan is of three types: eternal, that is the Vedas; Nitya Nitya, eternal, non-eternal, that is the Puranas, Vedi Shastras; Anitya is divided into Samshrita, that has been created the world, or Samshrita, that is the Mahatatma. Chaitanya is of two types: associated with sorrow, not associated with sorrow. What is it? Lakshmi Devi. Dukha, the associated with sorrow is two types: Vimukha, released ones, and those who are not released. They are of two types: Mukta Yogi, who can attain liberation; Mukti Yogi, who are unfit for Mukti Yogi. Mukti Yogi are also of two types: Nitya Samsari and Kami Yoga, eternal damnation. So like that we have this philosophy. And 5 types of Veda are very important then. The difference between God as well as Brahman Jiva, Brahman Jada, Jiva Jiva, Jiva Brahman, Jiva Jada, and difference between Jada Jada. So Pancha differentiation are very important. The most important for them is the Brahma, I mean to say the Sakshi. So they say that the soul is the highest Brahman. When you listen the knowledge, there is another Ayana. So when you say this is that is Vyavasayana. And when you say that yes, I know that this is about the Anu Vyavasayana, that is by the Sakshi, that is by the soul itself. And that is Upajiva, the highest command. That is there. So they have this philosophy. We also accept that. There is no doubt about it. And again, they say the most important philosophy, we are tired of the philosophy. But there is difference in the nature of philosophy. So they have Vishnu, they have Lakshmi, then they have Vishnu and Brahma, and Vrishaganas, and Vayu is also there. And Shesha, Garuda, Shiva, and Indra, like that they have the Tarakamya. And even after liberation, that Tarakamya is there. So, like in Brahmanacharya, Sri Sampradaya, they say that after liberation, same liberty. The Samanya is that Maharaj was saying Bhakti Bhavan Prasad Maharaj. But yes, there is differentiation. Shantabhavan, they are there in Germany. Madhu, they have most more. But at that level, it is complete. Okay. See, there's a glass, there's a tank. When the glass is full, so the glass it is full. You, the glass may have 200 ml, the tank will have water bottle will have 1 liter. So there is a differentiation. At the same time, there is achintya. That is how we do something like achintya, etc. You can say all those things. But there is a difference, but there is Purnata also of the Sri Sampradaya. Because the glass will say that I am full. The Shanta Bhav will say that I am satisfied. Okay. The Gopis, they say that we are happy with the Aishwarya Bhav, with the Madhurya Bhav. We don't want to understand Aishwarya Bhav. So in that way it is there. Okay. So like that is there. And again they say the Lord, the difference is that there is difference in the nature of the soul also. And that is why we have different bodies. At the initial time, the Lord's Leela is there. That's why we have why we came this way. It is the Lord's Leela. Lord decided some people to come into this. Ah, they say this, yes. That is there, no? They say Vishnu is Paradara. Vishnu is supreme. And that differentiation also there. So, Madhusharya, they say that all avatara are same. There's no difference there. Avatara is Vishnu and Krishna, and they are same level. Sri Sampradaya, they have the differentiation. They have the Para, the Viha, which I mentioned. And we also have the differentiation. So, everyone is Bhagavan. Okay? Then Tadekatma Rupa Vilasa Shamsha, which is there in the Bhagavad. However, how we can reconcile is that it's the same person only. Okay? So, difference is there, but still it is there. Bhagavatam is clear. Yes. I mean, everyone is clear. Even Madhacharya knew that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have mentioned tomorrow. But it was just to mention, I mean, see, only Krishna was there. What about those who are after, who are Aishwarya Bhava Bhaktas? What about them? So that's why the four Sampradayas are. Because we can't have the absolute reality in one Sampradaya. That's why it was mentioned. That is clear. Are you trying to confirm that, okay, so we are doing that? I don't understand the, the language of the question. It's a fact. There's no doubt about it. And why they say so, there is also they have their reason. So that is with the number Sampradaya. Next we have is the so now these things so Sampradaya, Nagwa, Shri, Nimbarka, and Dvita Sampradaya. Nagacharya, Ramanacharya, Nimbarkacharya, and Vishnu Swami, and then Vallabhacharya. Dvaita Vedant, Vishishta Swabhavika, the Bheda Bheda, and Shuddha Bheda. And two new things which Mahaprabhu will see them. Okay, we'll see at the end. And in the Madhacharya, after Madhvacharya, the prominent Acharya was Sri Jayatirtha. He commented on all the works of Sri Madhvacharya. If his point he was not there, we wouldn't have understood. He made it to he took it, established it as a philosophy, a proper school. Then Vyasadeva came. So they are like three top three authorities. Madhacharya, Jayatirtha, and Vyasadeva. Another acharyas are also there. Vijayendra Tirtha, Vadiraj Tirtha, Raghavendra Tirtha, Satyanarayan Tirtha. And in Madhacharya, the system is so they have the Krishna Mat, and then he has established 8 mathas. Palimar, Alamar, Krishnapur, Puttige, Shiva, Shode, Pandur, Pedavar. And all of them, they have a matha. And after 82 years, since they have it in the rotation, which is one of the apart from that, the 4 initial, the 4 disciples of Madhacharya, Padmanav, Madhari, Bharata, and Akshara, they also have their own separate matha. So That is in the ah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. They don't mention Krishna. See, they say Krishna, they say Vishnu is supreme. They have their own quotations also. We have our own quotations also. How Krishna is supreme. Krishna Sangarbha, you read Krishna Sangarbha, you will understand. What is the reason for this confusion? There is no confusion. They are saying one thing, we are saying one thing. Krishna Narayan is awake. And to have the, again I am saying the same thing. To have different bhav, there is no like contradiction. So Nimbargacharya, his philosophy is that yes, there's a difference and there's non-difference. Both are there, somehow in a natural way, both are to be accepted. There is same because we are of the same Swarupa. Okay, we are unknown. He is like he's a proper, and we are like a part of him, part of it. And the difference is there because we are dependent on him. So like that, we say that. And the process of attaining is the bhakti, sadhana bhakti, karma, jnana, bhakti, vipatti, guru prasatti. So like that they have. The point of is that they say Swabhavika Bheda. So if you say Swabhavika Bheda, there is ignorance in Jiva. So then there is Abhed in Jiva and Brahman. So then there is Abhed in Brahman as well. And that in a much more larger quantity because he is bigger. So you can have Swabhavika. The correct explanation is Achintya. By Achintya, you can say that though we are part of it, so we have ignorance. So it's not that we have this ignorance. The part, the composite will have this much ignorance. It is Achintya. Okay? That is there. Again, what they say is that the paraphernalia of the Lord is Jada. Okay? But we don't say so. The paraphernalia, everything. Again, in Bhagavad Sangarbha, as you were mentioned, the paraphernalia of the Lord is itself, that is also living. Okay? Their classification is souls have two types, in bondage and the free. Those who are free, there are two types. Desirers of mukti, non-desirers of mukti. The mukshukas of two types. Those who have attained the nature of the Lord and those who attain the real nature. That is who the Sayuja and who attain the as a servant of the Lord. Those who are mukshukas, there are two types. Who hunger after heaven and who are and the second time who are in this planet only. Muktas are also two types, ever free and those who are formerly dumb, but now they are free. So like that they are this. Okay. And that is the philosophy. And they explain it in this way. Okay. Swabhavika Bheda. The last one, Rural Sampradaya, Shuddha. What they say is, so it was propounded by Vishnu Swami. And there are three Vishnu Swamis. Three times Vishnu Swami came. The third one is the Vallabhacharya, who was there with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So their philosophy is that and so okay, so well, first we'll see the books. Vallabhacharya we wrote the book. The name of the book is I'm forgetting the name. Vedanta Vedanta Parijata Saurada. No, so he had Vedanta Parijata Saurada. And he Srinivasi wrote it Vedanta Kautsagam of the Nimbarka Sampradaya. In the Vallabha Sampradaya, Sri Vallabhacharya, he wrote his five examples are there and who have written 84 works. and out of that, 30 words are not coming. It is believed that we have written a commentary on Vedanta. First of all, you like different types of liberation is not that. The the desire for liberation which is there, every school have their different different take on it. The Madhvacharya say that some are Nitya Samsaris, so they are going to remain in this world. Others are, they are aiming for liberation by security, by that they have this. And in the Gaudiya Parampara is that security they have the association with the devotees, and then that's why they have the bhakti I'm talking about, not for bhakti. So there are different reasons for that. Some realize jnana, and jnana we realize. But security is there from past life. Okay, understood? So Anubhashya is a commentary of Vajracharya on Vedanta Sutra, but it is incomplete, and which was it is said that by the remaining portion was supplied by his son. Who will be announced at Bhashya, it's Vallabhacharya's commentary on Janani Sutra. So both in this commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also incomplete. Shorasha Granatha is also fiction book. So his philosophy is that Brahman is of two types, Parabrahman, Akshar Brahman. Parabrahman is Krishna, Sachidananda. Akshar Brahman is different form of the Lord. Okay? And this Jiva and Brahman, Jiva and Prakriti, they are also formed of Brahman. They are formed of Akshar Brahman. In the sense that Brahman has Sachidanand, Jiva is only Sachit. Anand is restricted. And Jiva, like the Brahman, the Prakriti is Satya. Like Chit and Anand are completely restricted, they are only Satya. And this Jiva, so Jiva and the body, they are also identical to Brahman. And in this creation is so we have separate creation destruction. So we have the Avirbhav and Tirodbhav of the Brahman. That is the philosophy. And Brahman is the both, and working in the efficient cause. Because the philosophy is that in the, like what we say is Brahman is the efficient cause and Prakriti is the material cause. But they say the Brahman is the Buddha cause. Because they identify the Prakriti with the Jiva with the Brahman. So that philosophy, they have this philosophy. The Jivas are of three types: Shuddha, of divine quality, Samsari, who are instructed, but who by the Lord's will, they have avidya, and by that they came in this world. And Nitya, who by the will of the Lord, they are free from this world. The Samsaris are of three types: Pravaha, who are busy with the worldly matters; Maryada, to follow the Vedic path, like normal Varnashram, and Prishti, who can attempt to, who can have the worship of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. This universe is the effect of the Lord, and it is not different from it, because Prakriti is identified with Brahman. So the Brahman is everywhere, okay, and he attains the knowledge of Brahman after realizing that everything in the world is Brahman, after attaining which is absorbed in the Akshara Brahman, and if not associated with the Para or the Purana Brahman. But those who have devotion, they have the Purana Brahman, Purana Purushottam. So that is with the in the Seva Bhava. So they have attained this then Yogi Swarup. So when the Lord he desires to like favor a particular soul, in that they have this property, a Lord mercy is very prominent that he decides to particular soul, and don't remember that in showing his favor, he is not guided by any consideration. Then out of his own will, that he brings out the soul from himself, from his divine body like his own, plays with him for all time. In this play, it is called Nitya Leela. The Lord reveals about him to the devotee, gives him the pleasure of his company. The divine bliss is completely a gift of the Lord. And they have a good thought. they follow, they have the philosophy is to be anuyaya of the Pura. So there are two margs here, Maryada Marg and Pushti Marg. So Maryada Marg is to follow the Vedic system. By the way, we will attain Sayujam. The Pushti Marg is by the grace of the Lord, and by that you can actually become an anuyaya of the Lord. And usually the aim is to have the good power in them. That's why the Gopis are available. That is the and they heavily stress on on the deity worship. The most prominent deity is the Shivnaji deities, and that's why Rajasthan. So that will be with the Vinmarka of the Sri Sampradaya, Vallabha Sampradaya. The Gaudi Sampradaya, it is the it is it explains all the philosophies to in the most complete way. It is the essence in the top class. So now we'll see what two points which Mahabharata took from all the four Vaishnava Sampradaya. From Madhacharya we took the refutation of the Mayavad doctrine and duty worship. From Ramanujacharya he took the pure devotion and Vaishnava Seva. From Nimbargacharya he took the principle of exclusive shelter of Srimati Radharani and performing bhajan following the footsteps of Gopi. So following the footsteps of Gopi. And from Vishnu Swami, he took the exclusive shelter of Krishna and Radha Marga. So they have the Radha Marga, which is to be followed. So we say this. So that is how the philosophy is there. And the understanding is that the Shakti, our philosophy is Shakti Parinamvad. This word is used in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. That Mayavadis they say the Brahman converts into the universe or even the Shuddha. We say it is the Shakti of the Lord, propelled by the Lord, which gets converted. By the glance of the Lord, Prakriti gets converted and like that. So like that, it is Shakti Parinamvad. That is our philosophy. And we have very nicely, we do the Sangraha. Our Achintya is not the Anirvachani of Mayavad philosophy. Very important point. Achintya, the Anirvachani is applicable to Maya and its product, which can be neither described as real or unreal. And it does not apply to Brahman. But the category of Achintya, it applies to the relationship between the Shakti and Shaktiman. It applies to Brahman, it applies to Shakti. So the philosophy is Shakti and Shaktiman. The Shakti, the Lord, and the Shaktiman and Shakti. The Bheda and Abheda. Both are there, Achintya way, which cannot be understood by us. So that is our philosophy. Very nicely, we take the Sangraha, we take the essence of the philosophy. The peculiarity features of our philosophy is that we only accept Bhagavatam as a natural commentary on Brahma Sutra. Krishna's Bhagavan is our definite axiom. The Shakti Man and the Antaranga Bahiranga Shakti, that is our philosophy. Like, go to our Tattva. The Bhakti, the executive Bhakti is our Tattva. The Vipralamba Madhurya Shingara Bhava is our Tattva. The 12 rasas which are there, Sakya, Vatsala, Madhurya, like that they are found in the different bhav, in the different arrangements of the spiritual world, it's completely manifested in the world of Vrindavan. And the Parakya bhava is a special attribute of our this Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay, so with this we are done with today's class. Any doubts? Or else we'll wind up with the today's class. It was very, very, very elaborated. It was to be so. You have gone through all the philosophies, everything you have gone through. So we'll wind the class up here. यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुता स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यसरो देवै साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदो गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिता तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुषुरसुरगण देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ पूर्णादा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Thank you very much.